Facebook Live. Woo-hoo. Is it turn? Yeah.
What?
30 seconds. Open.
1320 AM, WCBG, Covington, Cincinnati, and 1320thevoice.com. This is the voice of Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Stand by.
Okay, this is Frank. Right.
Good morning. You're listening to 1320 WCBG, The Voice. This is another episode of OKaye, Let's Be Frank. I'm Kay. This is Frank.
Hello.
What's going on, man? Good morning, everybody. Hey, I'd just like to thank everybody for listening and tuning in. How's your week been, Kay? What's been going on since Monday?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went.
They were on the road. They sure were. Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday I went to the movies and chilled out.
What'd you
see? The new Fantastic Beast. So I'm a really kind of a J.K. Rowling geek, really myself. So that
J.K.
was
Rowling.
cool.
That was
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
What'd she do before that? No, I'm thinking of R.L. Stein.
So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Just got to sit back and relax and be by myself. Watch the Wizarding World. Jump off into fantasy land. That was cool.
Heck yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, that's cool. I worked. I guess I didn't do much. I went and did I work? I did work.
Did you work?
Did I work?
Yeah.
What was yesterday? Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
So Monday we did the show, and then went and worked on Tuesday. New job's working out. It's pretty cool. You know, I'm enjoying myself. I guess. Thank God for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and then now we're here, so it's pretty awesome. Woo-hoo.
You ready for Christmas? It's like just a minute away.
Am I ready for Christmas?
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm ready for Christmas. I mean, have I bought anybody anything? No.
No.
But am I ready for the day to come? Sure, bring it. Hopefully, I mean, Lord willing, I wake up just like every other day. So,
yeah. Everybody's like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "I guess, yeah."
Right.
As ready as I'm gonna get. I mean.
Hopefully, it comes just like today did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to wake up and praise His name. You know.
How about you girls? Y'all ready
For Christmas?
for Christmas?
Yeah.
Like, aren't you always,
Yeah.
always ready for Christmas?
Always.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, it was super cool. So Monday we had on Kathy and Donna. We're on the show. God kind of laid it on my heart to do a segment of the youth, youth of the church, youth of a nation, whatever song you want to pick there. Put in. We are youth of a nation. Right? No. All right. Anyway, keep it pushing. No, but Kathy and Donna, Kathy Spellman and Donna Watts came on. I know that they've been an instrumental part in you guys' life for a while. How long have you guys been at New Hope or going to New Hope?
All our lives since before we were.
Yeah, right? So you were kind of carried into New Hope. Well, that's cool. Oh, that way. Sorry for yelling. All right. We're going to have to get close. So anyway, if you're listening out there, Kathy and Donna, we're here on Monday. So the next few days, the next few episodes of OKaye, Let's Be Frank, we're going to be featuring youth of the New Hope Christian Center and around the community. So what we have here with us today is a couple of ladies that have been a part of New Hope Christian Center apparently all of their lives. And so we just want to get kind of perspective of how God works in their lives and how how New Hope Christian Center has influenced and those types of things to keep you honed in on God. So thank you, ladies. How we doing today?
Good.
Good. I can't hear you. What was
Yeah,
that?
speak up a
I'm
little.
doing good.
Well, heck yeah, man. That's super awesome. I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm telling you, like, don't be shy. Just talk. All right. We just chit chatting about God, you know, and it's really cool. So just to get started, you go Samara.
Tomorrow.
I say it wrong every time. Samara Hall and Shaylee Hall
Mhm.
are in the building with us today. Samara goes to Thomas More
Yes.
College,
University.
Sorry for yelling. And Shaylee goes to Berea College.
Yeah, Berea College.
Awesome. So we're going to dive deep into what you guys do and how you feel about those situations and what it means to be a youth in America today, which I don't envy at all. I think it's a very hard thing, and especially to be a Christian in today's society and be a youth. It's crazy. It's crazy. So many distractions, so many temptations, so many things come into play, and especially when you're trying to walk right and walk with the Lord. It's super. I know it gets crazy. It's crazy hard. So, how long ago, Samara? Let's start with you. How long ago did you start Thomas More School?
I started Thomas More last year.
Last year, which is 2017.
Yes.
All right. Forgot what day it was myself. 2017. Did you go in with having a major, having an idea of what you wanted to do, what you wanted to accomplish?
I went in with a biology major, and they gave me biology and chemistry at the same time.
Yeah.
And I did not like that, so I switched to psychology in the second semester.
Heck yeah. That's what's up. So psychology, what did you plan on doing? What made you pick that?
I wanted to do music therapy, and I figured that class was the closest I can get before like going to the actual major. I'm probably gonna have to switch schools for that.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. Okay, do what you gotta do, man. Lord willing, man, he's gonna guide you. You know what I mean? That's cool. So, Shaylee, you started at Berea when?
Back in August.
Back in August of
Yep.
2018.
Yeah.
All right. Which one of you two is oldest? She's
I think
oldest.
that's obvious.
That's
yeah.
It's not on the radio. It's not. So, Samara, you're older by how long?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. All right, that's cool. So you started. Shaylee started Berea College back in August. What was your major going in? What did you? First off, tell us what Berea College is all about.
Ooh, Berea College. Well, first of all, the motto is God has created all of us of one blood, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's all about like diversity. It's really good. It's a great school to just meet like all kinds of people that you would not have met before, that are completely different from you, and I love that. And it's also like a free college for people that are really struggling to that would struggle to pay for college. So I'm like really grateful for that. I'm so glad. I knew I wanted to go as soon as I heard about it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. So like, is it a type of college where you have to pick a major to go into, or is it just it's all religion, or like how do you still have to take your prerequisites and all gen eds and all that bunch of stuff? So you're still studying math, reading, writing, and
Yeah.
do you have a PE class? Is there?
Oh yeah, we have to take two, I guess, fitness classes.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
And it can be achieved through like dance or like swimming class or something.
What's your athletic class?
I haven't taken one yet, but I'm gonna have to take swimming because we have to learn how to swim before we can graduate. And then I'm gonna take Middle Eastern dance. That's what I'm
You
thinking.
said you have to learn how to swim
hmm
before you can graduate.
Yeah. We cannot graduate if we don't like pass the swim test.
Wow.
Yeah.
How big is that baptism?
Oh.
Daggone, like cheese and rice. That's crazy. All right, well that's cool. So you went in with a major with an idea of what you wanted to do? Well,
Studio art.
The studio art.
Mm-hmm.
Explain a little bit about that. What is studio art?
We have to work in a studio, and eventually we have
Mind blown.
eventually we have to pick a focus. Like I want my focus to be painting, and there's also like ceramics and I think there's fibers, which is like making tapestries and stuff. I do ultimately want to focus on painting, but not yet because I want to try other things before I dive into that.
I heard you. Well, you got time. You got time. I've seen some of your drawings, man. You're uber talented for sure. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, Thomas Moore, what's your jacket say? What jacket are you wearing? Samara. Sorry, Samara. What jacket are you wearing?
I'm a part of the marching Saints, which is our marching band.
Woo woo! Marching band. Shout out. Shout out. Just saying. Anyway. Marching Saints. That's pretty cool. And you also teach color guard down at Newport High School. Man, busy ladies. It's super awesome. You guys have a positive influence on people around you. And I mean, like one thing we've learned through, I guess, through growing up through church, you have a certain circle of people that are around you that God has entrusted you with, you know, and you ladies are a super positive influence on a lot of people. I don't know if you realize it or not. I mean, even myself, I'm influenced by you and watching you and seeing you. Like, it's super awesome to see, for sure. I'd like to kind of dive into some realness. Around here, we deal with we're the 5 R's: real, raw, and relevant reality radio. So like I want to get like really what you girls think about some temptations and how you dealt with them and how you turn to God, when you turn to God. Like, when do you really ask him, like, man, I need some help in this area. Like, Lord, Jesus Christ, dude's looking super cute. What do I do? Is this you? Did you send him? Just like how do you deal with these types of things? So if I can start with you, Samara, like, has there been a time to where you've kind of felt tempted or whatever, or you've kind of questioned how God is using you in the college setting?
I had an answer.
No, that's all good. Yeah, like about like temptations and how when you face temptations in college and things are just kind of thrown your way out of nowhere or whatever. How do you feel like that God is using you in the college setting?
So I'd say the only temptations I've had are these days where I just like might want to skip class if I'm not feeling well. Or I've been like extra stressed this semester with some of the things I have to do, and a lot of times like there may be days or maybe even a week where I'm like completely down and I don't feel like doing something, and then I'll start thinking, wait a minute, this is not who I am. And then I start like getting mad at myself, like, no, you don't need to be doing this. You have so much going for you. And, you know, I'll just start praying about it. And
well, can I ask you, like, to get real, like, what do those prayers sound like? It's all good. It's all good. I mean, like, are you like, Lord, help me through this, Lord? Like, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling depressed. Like, can you help me out? Like, what do those prayers like really sound like? Or are you just kind of like, oh, I know you got this. I know you got me. Like, what do you? How does Samara say
it? Well, I remember something about how it shouldn't just be asking for help because you need to be working for yourself too. So I'm like, just be there with me, so that because I know that I can get through this. Because you put this stuff here for a reason. It's not just to torture me. It's supposed to be helping me, and I know it's going to help me, and it really has. Like I've gotten a lot better about things and going about certain things. Because I've been thrown into a lot of leadership roles recently, so that's been scary for me. And I get stressed out. But I'll be like, I know that you put me here for a reason. I know it's going to work out.
Man, sister, bring it. I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So if I can ask you the same thing, Shaylee, like once you get, going to a Thomas More, it's not a private college, is it?
Not. I mean, no, it is. I would say it is right now.
Yeah. But it's more of a. I guess, is Berea a private college too?
Yes.
Yeah, both of them are private colleges. So being around folks, I mean, it's not, Thomas More isn't so religious based, is it?
No.
Not really. Berea is pretty much that's their thing, right? So is there a difference in the society of Berea College as opposed to Thomas More? I mean, you've been around Thomas More a little bit since you went, right? So is the dynamic a little different around Berea?
I guess so. I mean, is Thomas More like primarily focused on one religion or like one type of Christianity?
I guess it's just Catholicism.
Yeah. I think Thomas More is more like focused on Catholicism, but like Berea is very welcoming on all kinds of religion. Like, I think ultimately God is the focus, but there's just different kinds of denominations that they're all like very welcome and open to.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. So is the dynamic as far as like temptations and things like that? I mean, it wouldn't be as, I guess, prevalent because I mean, like, I guess not everybody like throwing parties and
No.
getting crazy and all this bunch of stuff on campus. But so, what are the temptations? What do those things look like where you go? Are there any?
I don't know. I mean, well, yeah, it might just not be like the same kind of temptations, but I mean, even though it is a Christian-focused school, it is easy to fall into like the same kind of temptations. It's no different, and I don't know. I guess I mean, my temptation might just be like, I mean, sometimes I'll like have the tendency to probably like just sacrifice genuineness to seem cool or to make friends, or sometimes I don't act like my real self, and I feel like, yeah, I guess I sacrifice genuineness for just to seem like, just to have this like fake image, and sometimes I know it's wrong and I'll like ignore that thought, and I'm normally like an introverted person that constantly goes back and thinks, but lately I've been like making friends and talking to a lot of people so I don't have to go back on those thoughts,
Right.
just so I can ignore them. But every now and then, like when I know that's wrong, I pray, I journal, I'm like, I gotta stop sacrificing.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, no, and it's super cool that you say things like that, and I don't think that you realize how many people deal with that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody's listening that, you know, there was a long time in my life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where I denied myself,
Yeah.
you know,
like
just so I could,
Yeah.
and whatever excuse I could use, whether it was like I was adopted, so I had
Mhm.
abandonment issues or whatever.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, I could say that,
Yeah.
but the fact of the matter is, you know, God made us, and we need to be
Mhm.
happy in that.
Yeah.
That should be enough. You know, we shouldn't need
Yeah.
anybody else's approval in us and all this bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's taken me years to get through that. Like, you're finding this out early, so
Yeah.
congratulations, man.
That's the bad thing, is that I'm like so mindful of it, and yet I ignore my thoughts on purpose, and I just stop thinking on purpose, and it's not good. You know, those thoughts could just be God telling me, but then I ignore it.
Well, that's true, and I mean, like, one thing you have to remember is that you are still flesh. You know what I mean, and that's going to be a battle until the day you go back to meet him. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to act upon that and that starts to control you,
Yeah,
that's when it's a huge issue. You know what I mean? But having those thoughts, recognizing it, and then turning to God right away. I mean, girls got it, man. That's why I'm so glad y'all are here, man. Give us some insight. Y'all gonna help me out today.
Yeah.
For sure. So you've been going to New Hope ever since you were a little bitty. I guess they brought you in.
Mm-hmm.
You were in Mama's belly, I guess, for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Old Valerie and Dr. Phil, yeah. I love your dad, man. Your dad's such an awesome person. So tell us a little bit about your first experiences in the church. You know, the first things. What's one of the first things that you can remember at New Hope? If you say Pastor Chuck Sideburns, I'm gonna lose it. Yeah, way back. Well, it's all good. It's all good. What's something that you remember now? Like, what's something that is prevalent in your mind about New Hope?
Definitely the diversity. I've seen all types of people from in and out. And I remember how crowded it used to be when it was just the small half of the church before it grew. And I always just loved how many people were there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that they, when you guys started, they started in like this little bitty house type
Yeah.
thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys
Yeah.
there for that?
That was before we were born.
Before you were
before
born?
I was born, at least.
So you remember where the youth center is now, and you
Mhm.
remember that being the church. That's where you guys went? Or
I'm not
was
sure.
it even after that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall like ever being in a small little building.
Okay. So you were in like the first half
Yeah.
of the. I got you. So how old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19, and Shaylee, you were
18.
18. The whole year and a half thing. So note to self.
Great math skills there.
Listen, I almost had to take my shoes off. So like you said the diversity. What exactly did you mean by the diversity of New Hope?
Well, definitely by yeah, racially. We used to have. I'm pretty sure we've had Asians before, and we've had Latin American before too. There's just all types. Even like we've always just been welcoming to everyone, and I love that.
True. Yeah, New Hope's a special place. What's one thing that stays prevalent in your mind about New Hope, Shirley?
I don't know. That is true. I do agree with like the diverse aspect. We're also diverse in like age range, like as far as there's a diverse amount of old and young, and I like that. It's hard to describe. We just seem to we do seem like very like genuine as a church and very, very real and down to earth about things. I don't know. Maybe I don't see it, but very rarely do I see any superficiality. I feel like we do hit pretty deep on certain topics.
Heck yeah. Well, that's all. I mean, that's super true, and I guess that's one thing that attracted me to that church.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Kay's been in the church. What do you feel about New Hope? What's prevalent in your mind about New Hope as far as like what they were saying, diversity and genuineness? Is that a word? Genuineness?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was definitely diverse. It was definitely very genuine. Everybody was open and welcoming and caring. They were definitely welcome. Come back, and even got a call. After the fact, inviting us back, and it was just warm and inviting. The service was good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good experience. It really
We've
was.
got a few different speakers. I can't remember who spoke whenever was that.
Pastor Chuck actually spoke the day that I was there. That was, I don't know, it was just neat because I don't know, there was just people everywhere and you don't really know who was going to do what, but you just knew that there was going to be something going on.
Right.
So, I don't know, it was different.
Heck yeah. There's always something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Craziness. Part of the diversity, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and see, for me, like, that's one thing that personally I don't like church about is the everyday mundane rules of let's do this the same way over and
The
over.
order of operations.
Yeah. Like, please, come on. Can we shake it up a little bit?
Right.
So when it is that way, then it's like, oh, okay. So
Well, and that was one thing.
I'm not much on rules anyway, so let's break them.
That was one thing that really got me about throughout my tenure there. Like I grew up in the Baptist church, so it is very much like you stand up, 3 hymns, and if you don't fall asleep because those are so slow, then they have the offering and then you sit down and listen to the word, you know, very, very structured. And I can remember a couple times, Pastor Chuck, he would just go off and be like, you know what, I wrote a sermon this week, but Holy Spirit's working, and I feel like we're going off in a different direction. Like I've seen that a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing like I remember about my father, when he would preach, I asked him how he come up with the sermons, and he would say, you know, we would get to church early, and he would open up his Bible and open up his notebook and just pray, and whatever God told him right at that moment, that's what he would speak about that day, right? And I feel like that it's so genuine for Pastor Chuck to have an idea, and maybe God did lay that on his heart to speak about. But then the dynamics, maybe somebody decided to walk in the door that needed to hear something else, or, you know, somebody was going to take it. They were going to see somebody they hadn't seen in a while and talk about that sermon to them. And for Pastor Chuck to be able to listen to the Holy Spirit and actually change it up. It's not about me at this moment. I understand what the Holy Spirit is saying.
Right.
I'm going to do this. I really feel like that's huge. That's huge. We were talking, was it 2 weeks ago? I guess it was Wednesday, whenever Kent got on the phone, and he was Kaye's brother-in-law.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it.
Kaye's
We won't go into the whole what he is. He's my brother-in-law.
Kaye's relative, the guy, whatever. The guy that was on the phone last week. He said he was talking about how he had gotten saved, came to know Christ and the Holy Spirit and all this, and his wife couldn't be at his baptism this particular Sunday. So he had decided, I'll just wait until you can be there. I'll wait a week or whatever. And he said he walked in the building, and this rush of cold air just smacked him in the face. And he just knew. He was like, nah, I'm not waiting. You know?
It's so cool because their church is called Cowboy Church. They live out in the country in Texas, and cowboy churches are huge in Texas.
Well, everything's bigger in Texas.
And so it's on it's on Facebook somewhere where they videoed, went live on the video where Kent was baptized.
Really?
He was baptized in a horse trough in the
Really?
middle of the church. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what's
awesome.
up. That's
Yeah.
super cool. And the wife couldn't be there, so the daughter, I guess, FaceTimed her.
I
So she
think
could see it?
I think her best friend is who did it. Alicia may have, but I think it was her best friend who did it.
Somebody.
Yeah, somebody did.
That's
but it's-
like super cool, and just to pay attention to the Holy Spirit like that. You know what I mean? And he even said, he was like, dude, I don't understand it.
right.
He's like, I know I'm supposed to follow it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I really think that that's a lot of what New Hope is about. Like, we don't understand it. There's so many things that go on in that place. I don't understand. I don't get it. But there's also something there that you're not going to find anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes with the diversity and the genuineness. I still don't think that's a word.
Yeah.
Genuosity? Can I say that? Is that what
we don't look it up?
Google it. Google it. Genuineness.
Genuineness.
I think that's
Be like,
a word.
Okay, Google,
Right.
is genuineness a real word?
See what she said.
According to Quora, but grammatically, genuineness is the correct noun of adjective genuine.
Turn up.
There you
Turn
go.
up. All right. Thanks, Siri. Anyway,
There you
Alexa,
are.
give me a high five. No.
Right.
That's awesome. So, growing up with that experience, you said you've been there your whole life. You're 19, you're 18, the whole year and a half of Parkland. What was was there a big dynamic thing that made you choose the colleges that you wanted to go to? I mean, why not NKU? Why not UC? Why not Xavier? Why, you know what I mean? What made you choose Thomas More?
Okay, if I'm being honest about Thomas More, it wasn't even on my list. But they said one of the, I think it was the band director came to my school and he was like, this is how much you would owe. And it's only like $280. I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
True.
But I originally wanted to go to UK because I had been there for Europe 2 times. And I really liked the school. I didn't want to go to NKU because we were always really close to it, so that's all we went to all the time. I didn't like that there was just sidewalks everywhere. I like something that's more natural. And honestly, we've been there so many times we could probably do it.
Right. Right. I hear that. That's cool. What about your decision to go to Berea? Well, was that based on anything, or you just picked it? Like, did you Put a bunch of schools up on a wall, throw darts, or like, how did that work?
I don't know. I wanted to go to a lot of schools, but it's the only one I didn't feel like, I guess, lukewarm about. The rest of them, I'm just like, I guess I want to go. Like NKU was my second choice, but then as soon as I heard about Berea in like a presentation and I visited the school, I knew I wanted to go. I just felt it. I just heard about like it's going to be a free college and they guaranteed like all this stuff that was going to be paid for, and I don't know. It felt good to know I wouldn't have any student loan debt, and they're also a Christian school. And I feel like it would be helpful. That would be really helpful with keeping in touch with Jesus, and I would make all the right friends, and I feel like I am making the right friends.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And
So with that, I want to ask, with y'all's secular friends versus your Christian friends, what does your secular friends feel or think about the church itself? Do you think they have a real misunderstanding of what's going on or what the church really is? And how does the church reach the secular youth?
That's a good question. I mean, for one, the number one thing I always hear about like secular friends is that they always think the church is judgmental. And yeah, that's like the number one misconception. And it's probably because they've had bad experiences with churches that really were judgmental. And that's probably a big struggle with Christians too, where we can't help but be judgmental towards people that are different from us. It's just in our nature to do so, really. I mean, it's in our nature to be judgmental towards people that aren't like us. And
I think that's a human nature thing.
Yeah,
humanistic thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Right.
Not a Christian thing, of course. But it's in human nature to do that. And we just have to go against that and against our desire to be judgmental. And yeah.
Is that something that you deal with? More, or did you guys deal with that like in high school? And how did you get over that?
I mean, some people might mock it around us, but most of the time they really stuff are really smart. But like when I say mock, they'll like make a light joke or something. They don't like completely against us.
Did you ever feel like bullied?
No, not at all.
No, not really.
Everyone protected us ever.
Really? And where'd you go?
Newport.
We went to Newport High School.
Props to Newport High School.
Yeah!
Man. Hey, that's what's up.
We're like, don't mess with the hot girls.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They saw them 12-foot angels standing behind you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Heck yeah, that's really cool. That is really cool. So as far as the judgmental thing, and that's something I feel like a lot of people, not just teenagers, but I know you're not teenagers, you're young adults, but people that are trying to find themselves and find an identity and all that, I feel like that is a huge thing. I mean, it's crazy because people will color their hair a crazy color and then be mad because somebody's looking at them crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like the lime greens and the.
Are you trying to say something,
And,
Frank? Can I help you, sir?
Yeah, get to the camera, sir. No, I'm just playing. But no, like there are those people who are trying to find identity by doing craziness. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I don't know, but I think that by putting yourself out there, like you kind of, you don't really want to be judged, but you kind of do want to be judged. So I guess like I'm trying to ask you a question, like what would you say to the church as far as how to approach somebody who maybe is seeking identity, maybe somebody around the 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old range, as far as somebody seeking, because everybody has that internal yearn to want to, I don't know, there's something higher, there's something better. Everybody has
God's
that.
put a God-shaped hole in our hearts,
True,
period.
true.
And there's only one person that can fill that, and that's Jesus.
But
So we all have that yearn in there.
and we cover it up. So
Right.
how what would you suggest as being there, have been there? What would you suggest as a non-judgmental way to attract or to teach? More importantly, what did it for you? Like what were the words? What was given to you as a fish hook, I guess?
For the youth, honestly, I feel like it should be things for teaching out to them, and like the students themselves, not just the teachers. I think that really helps a lot, and like people, for instance, we're trying to get people from around Newport, and I feel like for like human charity or anyone else is going for, they should start helping with that too. Because it's kind of hard when you have students from different schools who might judge our schools too, and it's going to be like a little different. So I feel like if it was Newport, then it should have Newport youth group on that and help them.
Good stuff. What do you think?
I'd say with both love and discernment, we have to love them despite, like, their sins. And it's hard to be completely non-judgmental, but I like how you say youth reach out to you because they would understand it more than anything because they've been there. I mean, it does help to have like an older mentor, but I guess it's easier to stay closer in touch when you're like slightly older youth compared to like a high school age.
Dude, I get it. Like, I feel such a disconnect. Like, I mean, I'm lost.
Well,
man.
right. But so, like, there could be a structure. The youth leaders, therefore, umbrella over the older youth to then to go out and outreach to the other youth out. I mean, that's great outreach ideas right there.
True. That's good stuff.
Your umbrella of your older youth leaders helping the youth reach out to the youth. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Do you have any secular friends that ask you about Jesus or your experience or how you can bridge gaps or whatever? Like, have they reached out to you?
I've had a few questions before, but none that have really gone.
But enough just to kind of fill the waters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or plant a seed.
Yeah, plant a seed. That's all you got to do.
What kind of questions? I don't know. Like they'll ask, like specifically what I am. Like I'll say, I'm non-denominational, so they'll want to know what that means.
That's cool.
Yes.
So do you feel like that if you had more tools or more backing, like you would feel more like elaborating with these people, or do you feel like you gave them enough information, or I mean, like what do you feel like that you were lacking at all in that situation? And I'm just asking that because I would like to know what I could do to make sure I facilitate and make sure that everybody's equipped when those questions are asked.
Right.
Well, I feel like it might be kind of hard because you'll start making it more of a personal answer rather than saying, "Oh, is this what God wants me to say?" Like, I don't know.
Well, and I guess to that, and this is one of those objective perceptional things. My personal opinion about that is God guided someone to you
Right.
Yeah.
so that you have a chance to share your personal experience.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so at that
And
point,
most especially if they're the ones reaching out to you and asking you questions, they're opening that door for you to give your experience and what Jesus has done for you and in your life. And so I know there's situations for myself personally where I'm going to walk into a situation and I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it can be rocky. I just say, Jesus, you have to come with me and you give me the words because I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm with Frank. It's
Yeah,
like
man.
that.
Those-
He gave you that door for that. So,
That's
but
like
it's great that you have the courage to even a little bit put the foot in there and say, yeah, this is what it's all about. So that's cool. Props to you, for real.
amen, sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
I talked to Donna and Kathy a little bit about that. You know, like where do we kind of take over, and where do we give God the glory and all that? And God's gonna get the glory every time. You know what I mean? Like every situation is His, and I guess that's what I mean is I think there are some times where you have to be like, yeah, I got to share my story right now. You know what I mean? Like, let me just tell you what God's done for me. And the person, I firmly believe that the person that is brought in front of you, God did that because they're going to understand where you're coming from. They're going to receive what you have to say. It may not change them immediately. You may never see the exact change, but something that you said, something that you did is going to affect them down the line. God did that on purpose. I truly believe that. So, awesome. Good answer. I think that's don't ever think that you shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times we sit in our houses or wherever, and we just think that, man, God didn't use me, or man, I haven't done anything today, or whatever. Like, you don't know. Like, that one person, you said non-denominational, they may be sitting in a crossroads next Sunday. They may be sitting in the Seven Hills next Sunday. Somewhere, you know what I mean? That those words, non-denominational, that may have been all it took to plant that seed. You know what I mean? Now they're somewhere else, and they're going to help another generation at some point anyway. So just don't ever undermine what you're doing and how you affect it.
And always feel like if you have the support, make sure you have the support that you need. If you ever have a question or whatever, just be sure to reach out. Say, look, I had this conversation. You don't even have to give details, but I had this conversation with this person, and this is what happened. Is there any way I could have maybe done better or whatever? There's always growth and learning opportunities. But absolutely, God gives you those chances to talk to people. And he does it for a reason, because you never know when you might be radio show hosts together. And not ever know it.
You never know what you're going to get.
Absolutely. You never know when it's going to happen.
Now we got about 15 Jennings. But I mean, that's, you know what, we're laughing, but that is a great example. That man had no idea what he was doing. None. He couldn't even walk at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
And look at everything that he affected.
Absolutely.
And had no idea that he affected. Alabama, we go football on that one. I don't know how much you follow football, but back at that time, Alabama was huge, and they were winning championships and stuff like that. He happened to be in there just because I was running, he was running fast, you know what I mean? And being a part of Watergate and changing Jenny's life and just all, all those things, and he had no idea. He was just following his passion. You know what I mean? He followed his heart, and he was super genuine. And look at all the things that he affected. You know what I mean? So that's actually a great example of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people really sit back and realize, like before you think about Forrest and when he was sitting there and he had had his shoes on, and Jenny had left the last time, and he's sitting in front of his house. He was contemplating life. He'd been in a war. He lost his best friend. All this bunch of stuff had happened. And you can imagine him thinking, man, I screwed up. What am I doing here? I'm never going to do anything great. I'm never going to blah, blah, blah. So he gets up and he just takes off running. And when he got to the end, he's like, well, I wasn't tired. So I just turned around and kept running. And he runs across the country. And even in that moment, in him finding himself, he had millions of people or thousands of people following him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just because he decided to try to clear his mind and head on the path. Crazy. Super awesome. Love it, man. That's pretty cool. So, what type of extracurricular activities are you guys into? I know you do the band thing or whatever. Are there any different clubs? Are you in quick recall team or anything like that? Are there any other clubs, anything that you do at Thomas More?
I haven't really found the fun to because I didn't so much work. But I really wanted to go to track next semester.
Yeah. So.
Or archery.
Archery.
I found out they have archery, so.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I was a Cub Scout. I did archery, man. I was pretty good at it. But we were poor, so I couldn't buy any of the equipment. Mom couldn't put me in anything, so I went to the Cub Scout camp, right? It was like a 7-day camp or something like that. And they had the different events. And, I did the archery thing. I was like I remember I was rambling. And dude, like, I remember the dude coach, he was like, "You're really good." And I remember he told my mom's like, "Thanks, get the car."
Right.
But yeah, archery is super cool. That's awesome. Little deer at 1,000 feet, whatever. What about you, Shaylee? What type of stuff? I know you said you like to paint and you draw and all that. but
Yeah.
That's actually part of your curriculum, though, right?
Yeah.
So, are there like any extracurriculars that you're into?
I've been doing a couple, like I'm in wind ensemble, and what else? Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I used to get up at like 6:30 in the morning and do. Berea has a presidential walk-run club where the president runs, and like different students just wake up and they choose to either walk or run for 2 miles.
At 6:30 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Frank would not be a part of that club.
Jesus Christ. That's crazy.
You can tell by the look on his face. At 6:30? Are you kidding? No, thank you. No.
No.
I just thought I need to stay fit. Why not?
I hear you. Oh man, that's crazy. That is crazy. Well, that's cool. That is super cool. So you work at Taco Bell.
Yes.
You are the manager of Taco Bell. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that like? You go from
Wow.
Church on Sundays, and then you go to school throughout the week. And all these are spiritually based things, and your parents are pretty strong spiritual people. Their friends are pretty strong spiritual people. You're around a lot of spiritually strong people. Then you go to work.
Talking.
Oh yeah.
So what is that like? Because especially being a manager, you have to have some sort of camaraderie.
Yeah.
They have to buy into you in order to follow you. But being a child of Christ, you need to stand on your principles. So tell us a little bit about what a day at Taco Bell is like for old Samara.
I get stressed really easily. But I think I've earned a lot of respect over the 2 years that I've been there now. And there's been times where I do get really stressed, and I might yell or get a little frustrated because everyone's getting me crazy for no reason. But
you don't yell. You give them a whispering of a lifetime. Don't lie.
you don't know. Go ahead and work there.
Right?
But I don't know.
What types of things like would get you to that point and hype you up a little bit?
Well, if someone keeps screaming about the small things that are easy to fix, I might go a little crazy. Or if sometimes I might get customers that could try and get a little extra food when they don't need that. But
I didn't get my Nacho Bel Grande.
It all depends on their attitude. See, if they're nice about it, yeah, sure, you can have it. But if you're gonna throw your food back at us, then no, you don't deserve
Somebody's
it.
throwing their food at you?
There was this one lady. It was when we could still eat Roman lettuce.
Right.
She ordered a power bowl and threw lettuce at one of my coworkers. And she's like, "What is this?" I was like, "What you ordered? What do you mean?"
Right.
And like most of the times I'll be like nice about it, but other times like I'll just go in the back and yell about it instead of like with my
Right.
face.
I hear that. So you go and pray to God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jesus, take the wheel. No, that's crazy. Do any of it's crazy how people act. Like
Yeah.
the food service industry,
Yeah.
man. I
I
don't
was
think
going
if
to say,
you-
you're in food service. You can go out to people
Well,
out.
see, like I can kind of handle folks though. You know what I mean? And like I can chill them out before they get to. Somebody throw some lettuce at me though. We gonna have to get it. No, I don't want your E. coli. I keep that. You know? That's crazy. But people in their food. If you guys have never worked in a food service job, oh my goodness, you have to. I used to think. Well, listen, I used to want to change.
You will have a whole different perspective
Whole
on,
different perspective.
on respect for other people, for sure.
Whole
All you
different
got to do
perspective.
is be in food service.
For sure. Well, like here's what I used to want to revamp the high school co-op policy. I wanted to say if you're going to do a co-op, you couldn't pick your own job. You had to do 6 months of food service and 6 months of retail.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when you
Right.
get out, you understand
Right,
what's out
Right.
there and
Right.
what it's really like to wait on people.
right.
So man, please, chill out, especially during the holiday season. Jeez,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
People get crazy about it. Anyway, maybe because they start Christmas back in October. But hey, that's a whole different story. But so sorry for your experiences, but what is it? Have you had any coworkers or anything like? Do they know by your demeanor and how you handle things that you're a Christian, right? Like, do you have conversations at work about that stuff?
No, no one's really ever asked about it or anything. The most they've heard from me is like, y'all better stop making me work at 12. I mean, before 12 on Sunday because I want to go to church.
Yeah, I hear you. That's what's up. Well, that's cool. And I mean, like, I'm sure that time will come. Where was the person you said that somebody had asked you what type of church? That was at school. Somebody had asked you about that. I got you. Well, that's cool. Well, Shaylee works at Pompilio.
Yep.
Right? It's downtown Newport somewhere, yeah?
Mhm.
And you bust tables?
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So you just do
you
that.
get to clean up everybody's messes.
Oh, yeah.
You don't necessarily have to deal with people,
No, I don't.
but you gotta clean up their mess.
Yeah.
That's
great.
just about as bad.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
For
it's
sure.
like people are pigs.
Well, I've heard people tell me, like, the reason we came out, so I had to clean up the mess.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, right. Absolutely.
And then when they bring their kids,
Oh, yeah, that's when it gets real messy.
macaroni and
Yeah.
cheese stuck on the window.
Yeah.
How did that get up there? Oh, it's crazy. So, like, have you had the opportunity? Does anybody ask you about Christ or your walk or college or any of that?
A little bit. Honestly, like at first I didn't really talk to many of my coworkers because I was really shy. So for like the first few months I worked there, I barely talked to anyone. And they didn't, like, if you don't talk to anyone, they won't really talk to you. So it got kind of lonesome, but I wouldn't say most of them are probably Christian, but one of my managers right now, I mean, she goes to our church. I don't know if I can, like, or drop her name or anything.
Sure, name drop. Who is it?
Do you know Sandra at church?
Andrew Jefferson?
No, I
Yeah,
think
no.
that's her. But she became a manager around the time I left, and she goes to church, and she's always talking about. She is always spreading God. She's like, y'all should come to church with us. We should all come to church.
That's cool. Is that
And
Trip's
she-
mom?
What's that?
Trip's mom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. She's definitely not shy about the gospel. She's always talking about church at work a lot.
That's good.
That's cool.
That's so good. And
Mhm.
I've been in the restaurant industry for many moons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's one of the hardest places to get God into.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it's drugs and bad attitudes and
Mhm.
just all types of stuff running rampant through restaurants. And being a product of those things myself,
Mhm.
it's really hard not only to talk to somebody one-on-one,
Yeah.
and get it through God's message and His love and compassion and all that. But also, like, whenever you get a bunch of people together, when I was around my friends and stuff, like, I wasn't trying to hear that. I'm trying to see what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So in a work setting like that,
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult for sure, but pretty cool. You stay diligent and stay on your path and all that, and go to the back when you need to, I guess.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's super cool. Super cool. How long you worked at Pompilio?
It's been a year. About
Yeah.
It would have been a year. I was like a week and a half away before I went to college.
Right. So you're just working until you go back
Yeah,
in
for the
January?
next 3 weeks.
3 weeks. In town for 3 weeks. That's super cool. Appreciate you guys giving us some time out, man. That's cool.
Mm.
So you live on campus?
Yes.
Yes, that's cool too. So what is that like, not being at home, living on campus and being all by yourself in your faith, as far as
Mhm.
you don't have your family to
So,
support you.
yeah.
You're there by yourself. What is that like?
I really do like the independence. Like, I don't know, every now and then I'm homesick. I think as Berea is a small, closed off town, I kind of do miss the city. And, yeah, I do like the independence. I don't know.
You
I guess-
find like you read more now since you don't have, like, you don't have the city to go out to, or you don't have the store around the corner or whatever to do. Like, do you get a chance to read more? Do you draw more? Or walk us through a day in Shaylee's life.
I guess I do all that I want, but it's more like doing it as an assignment because I love to paint, but I'm doing a painting assignment, and I spend like lots of hours on a single painting. And I do read a lot more, but it's not what I want to read. It's like academic books and stuff. I don't know. At first, I was really diligent. Like in the beginning of the semester, I was really diligent about getting everything done on time and reading books. And then I made friends, and I get a lot more distracted. Sometimes toward like at the very like last 2 weeks, I did procrastinate a lot, but I ultimately did finish everything. Probably more last minute rather than like 2 or 3 days ahead of time before it was due. But yeah, I don't know. It's been hard holding myself accountable and prioritizing myself. But I survived.
I will
I survived. Yeah.
Yeah. That's love. That's part of it. That's
Mhm.
what it's about. And I think a lot of people, they kind of get it twisted whenever, like, going off to college. Everybody's worried about
Mhm.
the coursework and stuff like that, which is important. But I think it's more life skills.
Oh
Like, you're
yeah.
talking about how
very
to
life
manage
skills.
time, and I know when I went, I was super horrible at it. You know what I mean? Like, well, because like I procrastinate anyway. You know, so it's like your teacher tells you, well, you got this paper due, you go to your next class. Oh, I need you to read these chapters. Oh, blah blah blah, and then I go to marching band, and everything else is out the window. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, heck yeah, my drum. All I need to do is work on this music, man. You know what I mean? And work on my steps, whatever. And go to class 2 days later, and they're like, all right, so turn in your papers. I'm like, what paper? Like, about that. So yeah, man, that's life lessons are hard, and it's cool that you get an opportunity to learn that type of stuff.
Mhm.
Now your daily life looks a little different than Samara's daily life, because you still live at home, yeah?
No, I live on campus.
You live on campus, all right, but you still go to work, right?
Yeah, I come back on the weekend.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So like, are you living like in a dorm setting with other Thomas More folk?
Yeah.
That's cool. So what does your daily life look like?
Well,
You wake up to the trumpet?
No, it's actually the school bell, 'cause it's like right in front of the door.
Yeah.
And that's how I would know if I overslept. Because if I would hear the bell ring, I'd be like, oh no. But yeah, I was just mostly trying to get my work done, and then a lot of procrastinating, and especially like I don't. My roommates for some reason don't really like talking, so we're like in and out, back and forth, and it's awkward if we're both in there. So one of us usually leaves, and then now I don't have a roommate, so now I'm always in a room.
Oh, you don't have a roommate. Well, that's crazy. That's super crazy. Well, ladies, I really appreciate you coming in and giving us some time out and some insight on youth and how it goes. I know you're not like really youth anymore, but you know, trying to grow up in this crazy world and get it all together and using Christ as your foundation. I really appreciate you, Samara Hall, Shaylee Hall. Thank you
Thank
again.
you, ladies.
Thanks for
coming.
inviting us.
Everybody watching and listening, I'll have a few more guests on come Monday. Monday to 11 o'clock, 11 to 12. We are okay. Let's be frank. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snaps, whatever you name it. Check us out. Again, thank you for listening to Okay, Let's Be Frank on 1320 AM WCBG The Voice.
Yeah. Okay, let's be great. Okay, this is Frank.
All right.
Good job.
Good job, girl.
Good job. Thank you, ladies, for coming in. Appreciate it.
WCBG proudly brings to you the Okay, Let's Be Frank show.
It's like they did it all their life.
I know, right? Right?
And they were nervous.
I know.
Every
Good job.
Monday, 11 to 12 p.m. and get your weekly dose of devotion on 1320 a.m. WCBG. Starting October 22nd, 2018.
It's way past October 22nd, though.
WCBG Covington,
Must have
Cincinnati.
kept that tail on.
I thought I had.
This
You
is
did
the
cut it
voice
off.
of Cincinnati.
And I told what's her name to delete that whole thing.
It's gone. I just did.
Thank you, Jeff. Taking care of business.
I think I made it
You did make a new
because
one.
I did with
You
Wednesday.
just-
I added
What?
Wednesday.
And that was the one that I had cut that tag off and just made it that, and then you added on.
The tag.
Yes.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I'll make it.